It's Chris, and today I'm going on a bike ride in Scottsdale, Arizona, and in particular, old Scottsdale, Arizona. And I'm starting it out here next to this orange tree for a very particular reason. So I want to tell you a story about how Scottsdale got its start. All right, so first I wanted to start off with where did Scottsdale get its name? And Scottsdale wasn't always Scottsdale. It was actually where the Scott came from was a famous military commander named Winfield Scott. And he owned about 640 acres of land here in this area. And it was mostly farmland, orange groves, and cotton fields. And the main thing that he did was he grew oranges. That's why I started an orange tree. And it was, he wanted to call it Orangedale. Orangedale, not Scottsdale. And his name was Scott. And somebody else said, no, let's call it Scottsville because you own all the land. And then a newspaper reporter wrote a story about the place, and he called it Scottsdale. That was a mistake. He actually made a mistake in calling it Scottsdale. But it stuck, and that's how they got the name Scottsdale. But Scottsdale didn't become a boom town or a place for people to live until maybe the late 50s and 60s, and the main reason was air conditioning, or the lack of. You can imagine living in this dry, hot desert climate where it can get over 100 degrees all summer long with no air conditioning. I can't. But air conditioning was invented in the late 50s, and a man named John Hall decided to take advantage of that and build a development here called Hallmark Homes. I found this little neighborhood that I wanted to go through because these are some of the original Hallmark homes. These red brick homes with carports. And it's rare. I mean, I was looking through a lot of neighborhoods. It's rare to find one where there's kind of like so many unmolested homes, unpainted houses with actual carports and no, it hasn't been turned into a garage. Look at this one on this side. It's the exact same house, just been kind of revamped. This one has a garage, probably full of junk because all the cars are in the front. Here's one with a Cubs fan. Very cool. And these big awnings over the front of the house. It wasn't to have like, rocking chairs out on your porch. It really was to protect the house from the sun, to keep the sun off the windows, off the front of the house. They would have an entire awning on the entire front of the home. You can see that straight ahead as we get closer. The front porch was really just to protect the house from the sun. And the air conditioning back then wasn't like the air conditioning we have today. More likely it was a evaporative cooler where they put on the top of the house. You can see where they have the air conditioning on top of the house. Every now and then you might see an actual evaporative cooler. That might be one right there in this house. That house is so original. And with the brick and the carport, I find them to be fascinating, really cool. Some like this one, they bricked in the carport and made it into another room probably. I mean, these houses are from the 50s and 60s, so there's been a lot of change over time. Some have been painted, some have been stuccoed, some they even put wood on the outside of the brick. Kind of crazy. Look at that one over there. That looks so original, right, with those trees in front, big ficus. Cute little cul-de-sac area. They do have an orange tree growing there. This area was just full of orange groves, and so because it's so close to a canal that's runs right down through the middle of Scottsdale, this was farm community, and then Hallmark built all these homes, made it a housing community. Let's take a ride down this street. And then we'll head out towards Old Town Scottsdale, talk a little bit more about the history of Scottsdale. But this is what got people to move here. Inexpensive homes. They're all kind of exactly the same. A couple of bedrooms, maybe 2 or 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, kitchen, dining room, living room, and a carport. Made out of brick. Solid houses. They've been here forever. You don't get termites with brick, right? And there are termites in the desert. All right, I love this one here. It's one of the first ones I saw. It was all brick and kind of unmolested with the tree The one with the flag in front of it. You see the brick and the grass. Nice little carport. Very cute. All right, let's keep moving. I'm going to stop and pause. I'm going to kind of do some self-editing here and hop up to the next spot, which is Old Town Scottsdale. If I see anything else along the way that's interesting, I will come back. Add something about John Hall and Hallmark Homes. He didn't stop with this development, obviously, in just Scottsdale or the original Orangedale or Scottsville. It's, you know, before it was Scottsdale. He started a second development on the west side of Phoenix. And John Hall's wife's name was Mary, and he called it Maryvale. For those of you who live in Phoenix, you'd be like, what? Scottsdale and Maryvale has something in common? I mean, if you were to ask anybody about Scottsdale and ask them what they would give me one word, howdy, how you doing? One word for Scottsdale, they'd probably say, you know, bougie, rich, snobby. Probably not this part of Scottsdale because it's still older, cute homes. These houses are not cheap though. But if you were to ask somebody the same thing, give me one word for Maryvale, they would say dangerous, crime-ridden, murder. I mean, the west side of town. And why is that? Why did Maryvale fail when Scottsdale succeeded? And the big reason is after the development had gotten started, they had detected a huge toxic groundwater leak underneath Maryvale. And obviously that kind of put a damper on anybody who wanted to live in that area. And it became a more low-income area, which unfortunately, where there's a low-income neighborhood, there tends to be more crime and issues. So Maryvale, which has the exact same houses, you know, the houses that are there look just like this, but haven't appreciated, obviously. As you get further, you get a lot more mid-century modern homes, which is kind of cool. You get that 60s vibe, you know, but they're all the low-slung roofs, all one story, no two stories, because I don't know why anybody would want a two-story. If you have a two-story and you live in Arizona, forgive me, but the second story gets hot air rises. It's harder to cool the top floor of your house. It's usually where they put the bedrooms. Not a great look, got a great idea. And then as you go further north or west of Scottsdale in the city, the houses get a little bigger, just like they would in any neighborhood. There's like a section of houses that are the entry level. Then you move up to next level of houses, might be a little bit bigger. You know, maybe they have 3 or 4 bedrooms. Maybe they have a bigger living room. Maybe they have, and then all those houses look the same. They still had carports. I think we're still in the kind of the base models here. But if you get further out to an area called Arcadia, which we'll ride through there on another ride, you have more custom homes. And unfortunately, a lot of the houses that were built original have been torn down and replaced with condos or bigger houses. What's this one? Doghouse Enterprises. Look at this. So here are some cool houses, but this one over here on the right, I mean the left, sorry. They enclosed the carport. Interesting. All right then, sorry, I want to jump in and tell you the story about Maryvale and Scottsdale. So if you are from the Phoenix area, did you know that Maryvale is named after the developer basically who put Scottsdale on the map? Now of course Scottsdale is a destination for vacationers and has been for a long time, and that's the other reason why it was on the map, is they had some resorts in town where people would, you know, escape the cold in the winter. The snowbirds would come out to Arizona and bask in the sun. And they still do that. My exercise ring is closed. I've been riding for a while trying to find these brick homes, and I found them. I'm so excited. I know you might think I'm nuts because these houses aren't that spectacular. They all kind of look the same, and that was the idea back in suburbia in the early 60s. You know, people wanted a nice solid house, There's an acacia mulga, like the one I have in my backyard. It's kind of skinny. It's a big full one. There's a brick home. All right, enough brick homes. Let's move on to downtown Scottsdale. Okay, after a short bike ride, we're now down in Civic Center area of Scottsdale, and that's kind of cool. They got this cowboy here for the 1980s, because this area was kind of booming in the 1980s, but we're going to go down to the area that started in the 1880s. Okay, so I'm going to move you to my chest, and we're going to ride around and talk and show you Old Town Scottsdale. So as I said, we're in the area called Civic Center. This is where there's a historical museum here. It's a beautiful little area. That's closed this morning, but they have these cutouts. Oh, looks like this is probably Mr. Winfield Scott right there. A lot of restaurants and bars in downtown Scottsdale. It's a hot spot on Friday or Saturday night. It's very pretty down here. And there's a lot of history. So some of these buildings are actually from the 1800s. So as I drive around, look at this magnolia tree. Holy moly, it's huge. You'll see the old style of Scottsdale from like the old Western days. Let's pop in and stop right here for a second. You can see this old Mexican Imports building. That's one of the original buildings from the 1800s. It's like the old curio building. It's not open today. Southwest, you know, they have lots of Native American arts in this area. There's Porter's Western Store. You know, original buildings that have been repurposed to be kind of the same thing. Porter's Western General Store. Here for cars. This place called Baseballism. I love that store because I'm a baseball fan, if you don't know. So let's kind of cruise around, and I'm going to go as slow as possible so you get a real feel for it. Look at this gigantic Monsterosa cactus. We're on the very edge of it now. It's where if you're in the old days, maybe when you came down to Scottsdale, you had to come to Old Town Scottsdale. But Scottsdale has grown so much that it is now a long, skinny town. A lot of people come just for resorts, just to go golfing, and might miss this area. I would hope you didn't. I hope you do come down and like these people are doing, to take a walk around. Get a feel for what it was like in the 1800s, maybe. Some of these old buildings. I always wonder when I see a tree that size, was that tree here or something like it back in the old days? See these old buildings? Now some of these probably repurposed in the 70s or rebuilt, but you know, Old Town Scottsdale. Hat store. Get your cowboy hat. Get some cactus candy. These are things you have to have if you take home. Whoa, almost get run over by a Volvo. A lot of galleries, lots of artwork. Native American clothing. Moccasins. Oh yeah, moccasins. You got to get yourself some moccasins. Oh, so we can cross this street. Awesome. Because a lot of it's on the other side of Scottsdale Road. We're on Scottsdale Road right there. Big, giant thoroughfare. We didn't get hit. Yay. Some artwork, some sculpture. Giant jackrabbit. But I hope you're seeing the covered walkways that you would see like in the Old West. No, this is a facsimile of the Old West. I'm sure these things weren't here. They didn't have art galleries back in the 1800s where you could buy your Native American art. But maybe in the 70s, that's when it really picked up steam. And this was where people would go. There's nobody over here, so let's take a little spin through that area. See what it's like. See what I mean? Pretty cool. Very nice place to come, even in the middle of the hot summer. When I first moved to Arizona, we lived here temporarily, kind of in a hotel right down the street called the Valley Ho, which is now kind of an artsy, kind of mid-century modern 60s kind of Flintstones style place. I don't think people really want me riding bikes here, but there is nobody on this walkway right now. Cool art, you know, different galleries. Let's cruise down this way. There is a big art gallery down here, Southwestern Art Gallery, which is really cool. Looks like people taking a Segway tour up ahead of me. Canopy Hotel, that's a Hilton property. Let's group up here. So this is the Western Spirit Museum. What I love about it is some of the, honestly, because you know me, I'm a big plant guy, but look at these saguaros that they just stuck all right here. I don't know how they're gonna survive. They're underneath the roof. You know, they're kind of edging towards the sun. Some of them have blooms on them, but I see some of them are also kind of damaged. Hopefully they'll survive. Anyway, saguaros in the Western Spirit Museum. Hi. I like this building over here next to it too. It's kind of a cool building, right? With a wash running through the middle with these grates like a bridge. I think this is a part of the museum at one time. It looks pretty empty. Yeah, they're redoing it, refixing this up. Private property, no trespassing. Let's cut over this way. Oh yeah, huh, wonder what they're doing here. It's all torn up. That's such a cool building too. To be honest, that Western Spirits Museum, maybe it's not making it because it doesn't look as good or as busy as I would expect it to be at this time of the year. And you know, the part of the building is run down and being renovated, but it doesn't look like there's any construction or anything happening to it, so kind of odd. One of the things they have down here is instead of cabs, they have, see these golf carts in front of me? You can get a ride in a golf cart to your hotel or around, because you know there's no way you can go very fast on these streets. It's a Thai kitchen, Thai restaurant, Maylee's Thai on Main. While we're here, let's take a little run over to the Ramada Valley Ho, where I used to live when I was a kid for a short time. Quick story, you know, I was a kid coming from Connecticut, and when I got out here to Arizona, we moved to Nogales, and then we moved up Nogales, Sonora, Mexico. We actually lived in Mexico for a few years, and then we moved back up here to the valley. And while we were looking for a house, we lived in the hotel, this Valley Ho. Howdy. And they had a gigantic pool, or a big pool, you know, from what I was used to. And I just jumped in, went right to the bottom of the deep end, sunk like a rock, because I didn't know how to swim. When you're in Connecticut, they have pools, but they're all like 3 feet, 4 feet deep. They're not big old pools, you know, they're play pools, basically. And so my mom jumped in with all her clothes on and pulled me out. There was a lifeguard at the pool. I guess I was so sure of myself when I jumped in the pool, he must have thought I knew what I was doing. But I was at the bottom of the pool, just looking up like, whoa, this is deep. And my mom pulled me out. And then as I was getting out of the pool, my sister jumped in the pool. Same thing. So anyway, I was happy to say I did not die that day. I wouldn't be here today on YouTube. So here we are at the Valley Ho. Take a look at this building. Might pause for a moment, but if you look at the architecture, very, I guess you call it mid-century modern, kind of Frank Lloyd Wright style. Big patios. I think they have tiki parties here. There might actually be one going on right now. Quite a few people with Hawaiian shirts.
They might bark, okay? They won't hurt you, but they might bark.
Let's cruise through the lobby. The Valley Ho. Oh yeah, there's some kind of an event happening here. I valet park my bike. Pretty cool, huh? Now they've expanded and they put rooms on this side of the hotel. There's another hotel called the Standard over there. Let's see if I can get around to the back of the pool house so you can see the pool. And we'll run by it one more time. This is the old hotel, and they put in a tower building. But the old building was this 2-story, and it was a Ramada when I was a kid. So, all right, let's pause and I'll find it. So let's cruise in the parking lot here. But yeah, I think there was an event. So my room was actually back in this side of the hotel. Rooms are still there, still a big block building. Looks like there's a shave ice. I'm thinking they had a tiki or Hawaiian themed event here over the weekend. It's Sunday morning, so it's possible that it just isn't happening anymore. But let's cruise by here. Looks like there's food trucks. The whole hut. They're making hamburgers and stuff. Look at this VW bus in front of me. That's really cool. Two Guys grilled cheese truck. Like I'm gonna be able to get back into the pool, but there seems to be a lot of people back there, and I don't want to disturb their privacy by sticking a camera all over the place. So I probably won't be able to get in and see the pool area today. Maybe in another trip. I want to get back over to Old Town for a second. Hey, look at this hearse. Sweet Midnight. That is a long car. All right, popped over to a different area called the Fifth Avenue Shop. Still in Old Town Scottsdale. Fifth Avenue, you know, like New York City, might be considered a more expensive area. It's a little bit busier, that's for sure. There's some e-bikes. Holy moly, some hardcore e-bikes. You know, if it's probably part of a tour. So it's still breakfast time, I think, or brunch, and so there's quite a few people at more breakfast friendly restaurants right now. Beautiful fountain in front of you with the horses. Let's ride close to that. What the heck, there's nobody here. I was hoping, and it seems to be good. It's not too busy. I can ride right down the middle of the road. You can see the old-fashioned style walkways, very western. Everything's shaded. Clothing stores. There's a crystal shop. Cocapelli, Southwest Gifts, jewelry, gorgeous things made with love. There was a time when some people in Scottsdale wanted to turn this area into something similar to the San Antonio River Walk, with water features throughout this area, and local businesses revolted and said, no, we want to keep the style of the place just like it was back in the 70s. And they did that. So they have parking in front, which is nice, but I would say it's hard to find a parking space if you're coming down here. As I say that, there's one right there. It's kind of small though. I have to watch out for people backing out, that's for sure. Ice cream, gelato, cool Mustang, and restaurants. I'm gonna turn around and go back across the way. Maybe I'll go a different way into it. But I wanted to show you, so they wanted to turn this into kind of like a water feature area, and you wonder, well, this is Arizona, right? Why water? Well, as I told you before, you know, this used to be an agricultural area. Okay, let's cut over and scooch up this way. Yeah, so this dog looks like my dog. Big fluffy with boots on. We're gonna go back in here. Farming craft, very busy. Obviously, breakfast, lunch, brunch. People are having a nice time. This one is Rodeo Sushi. Hot Girls Go-Go. Yeah, okay. It's starting to get busier. It's about what time is it? Almost 11 o'clock, so lunch will start be here soon, and this place will get much busier. Anyway, what I was saying was that this is going to, well, they wanted to make this more of a water feature laden area. And as we pull up here, you'll see why. We are straddling the canal. Now, the canal system in Arizona is really what drew Phoenix and Scottsdale and Tempe and Gilbert and all of it and Chandler, because they were able to have water coming through. And the canals came from the original Indians. The Anasazi Indians had the canals going through this whole area. See the water features here. And we're going to come up on the actual canal. Check it out. Flowing water in Scottsdale. So now we're in almost exact downtown Scottsdale, or what I would call downtown. It's the corner of Scottsdale and Camelback. There's a giant mall, restaurants, and so forth. Let's cruise around a little bit. Just to the other side. And you see we're over the top of the canal, which flows right through Phoenix. It's a flowing river. Pretty cool, huh? So they could have, piped some of this over there and made like little canals, a little Venice type canal system, but they decided not to. Decided not to have that water feature and just continue with this canal. It's pretty full. And this canal goes all the way across Phoenix. All right, we'll finish up this ride right here in front of the statue of the Pony Express. See the guy racing with his horse. The other guy racing to grab the bag, the mail. Right here in downtown Scottsdale, there's a lot of these nice, cool statues and monuments. And I hope you enjoyed that little ride from history of Scottsdale, or Orangedale, and the history of the suburbia, which was from Hallmark, and then a little bit of this downtown area. Now, we haven't seen what they come here for, the resorts, the golf courses, but this beautiful weather. It's just a beautiful day today. And there is water in the desert. Okay, see you on the next one.